What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Auto 101. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another video. Now today we're taking a look at this car right behind me here, which is quite possibly one of the best-selling cars worldwide of the last few years, the Tesla Model Y. In particular, the pre-refresh Tesla Model Y is what we're taking a look at, because the Tesla Model Y was significantly redone at the beginning of this year. There's a lot of these Tesla Model Ys that were bought as new cars, but how does this stack up now as a used car, especially now that that refreshed Model Y is out? Stay tuned, let's find out. Tesla Model Y, an immensely successful car, was launched about 5 years ago now, and it really changed people's perception and viewpoint about what an everyday commuter car should look and feel like. And that was reflected in the sales figures. This Model Y has been one of the best-selling cars, if not the best-selling car, in a lot of countries across the world. But a lot has changed in the 5 years since this car was revealed. Public sentiment around EVs have changed. There's a lot more competition now in this market, a lot more brands really putting out top-notch EVs. On top of all of this, Tesla revealed a brand new version of the Model Y. I say brand new in quotes because really it's a heavy refresh of this Model Y, and that happened at the beginning of 2025. So this is now the pre-refresh Tesla Model Y. So I think this actually makes a really good used buy in 2025, and I'm going to walk you through why I feel that's the case. Let's get the cat out of the bag right away. The Tesla Model Y now poses a serious value in the used car game, because very lightly used examples of Tesla Model Ys of this pre-refresh look or shape can be had for under $30,000 with very reasonable miles and not that old. We're talking like maybe 2 to 3 years old. And that represents to me phenomenal value because of everything that this car offers from a daily driving, everyday use perspective. And the reason why I feel like this makes such a good used daily driver is because it does a lot of the daily driver things really, really well. There's really good technology. There's really good space and practicality. It's fun to drive because it's quick and powerful, but also handles pretty well. And most importantly, the charging infrastructure and overall charging experience is the most seamless, which is still a big hurdle for EVs. And this Tesla and all Teslas really solve that hurdle well. And you could get those benefits and that advantage of the Tesla charging system even on the used Tesla. So let's get into the details and talk about those things that make it a good daily driver. Let's start off with tech, and it starts right from the way you enter the Model Y or any Tesla. There's really two ways. You could use your phone through an app, or you get this card, which functions as the key. You swipe it here, and you could get into the Model Y. And getting into the Model Y, you're greeted with a cabin that's very minimalistic, very modern, which is not to everybody's liking. And I'll leave it up to your preference because styling and design is very subjective. But I think because it's so modern and simplistic, it's kind of aged well because there's no real styling elements to age. All very clean and simple. But the star of the show really is this screen in the middle. And there's a few advantages with this pre-refresh Model Y that are no longer present with the new Model Y, including this stock for choosing basically your driving gear. Newer ones have that either digitally or through buttons. It's not the same experience as having a physical stock, which is definitely a superior, more tactile way to control both of those functions. We've talked about the screen. Again, I am not a Tesla pro or Tesla expert. There's a lot of people out here who know a lot more about this Tesla infotainment system, but all I could tell you is that having used it for the last few days, it really is very smooth, extremely fast, extremely high resolution, a lot of detail, a lot of really cool features. You can control basically the entire car through this screen. You have different streaming options too. Like you could change all these apps. There's no CarPlay or Android Auto, but the level of customizability, the level of functionality, this really is a very detail-oriented infotainment with the amount of information that's available on it. And on top of that, it's a very fast experience. The problem with this is if you're someone who prefers tactile buttons or who prefers a more kind of physical UX between yourself and the car, this is not a good system because everything, and I mean everything, is controlled through this touchscreen. And a lot of the touch targets are not as big as I would like them to be. For example, these icons to me are really small. A lot of the icons down here are really small, which is no problem if you know how to use the system. But if you're new to this, if you're new to using a full screen-based infotainment, maybe it's not super safe while using that on the road, depending on your comfort level. But having this level of technology in a used car definitely makes it feel more modern, makes it feel more current, and forget about current, it actually makes it feel super futuristic. And despite this car being refreshed, a lot of this infotainment is still the same in the pre-refresh Model Y as it is in the new one. So it really helps aid its case as a really good used car proposition, because you're not really missing much when it comes to infotainment. Now, using a system that's that reliant upon tech may not be to everyone's liking, but having that level of tech enablement at the price that these used Model Ys are going for now is kind of cool. And it's kind of nice to see that that tech is becoming more and more available. And the nice thing about the Model Y being designed on a dedicated platform that was always meant to have an SUV version, I think it was teased in the mid-2010s, actually, way before this car even came out. But because of that being a part of the development cycle, there's a lot of space and practicality in the cabin of the Model Y. You could tell that this was thought out right from the get-go. Here in the driver's seat, there's a lot of room. It's very airy and spacious. I'm 5'9". Likewise, there's a lot of room here for the passenger as well. The glass roof on the top, it really makes it feel very expansive. There's a lot of light coming in. It creates a very open and airy cabin, which kind of matches the EV vibe, in my opinion. If we go and head over into the back, there's also a lot of room in the rear. A lot of space and practicality here. You have to excuse my camera. There seems to be something wrong with the focus. If we open the trunk, there's also a ton of room in the trunk. And there's actually a bed air mattress attachment that comes with the Model Y, where you can put the seats down, remove the tonneau cover, and a whole air mattress custom designed to fit this fits in the back. So there's a lot of room in here, and I'll make a separate video on that air mattress attachment. But definitely an advantage of the Model Y is just the sheer amount of space that's in the cabin. We can't forget that the Model Y also has a hidden storage feature that some EVs have and some EVs don't, but it has a frunk. Little preview with all the tech enablement. If we hop over into the front, you'll see there's a little bit of additional storage that's available in the front. Actually, a really decent amount of additional storage. Because the Model Y refresh didn't really change anything with the body, this old Model Y still has all the same space, all the same practicality that you'll find on a brand new Model Y. Nothing is lost with going with a used version of the Model Y. And this previous gen Model Y, especially the dual motor, long range all-wheel drive, is still plenty powerful. I'll put the horsepower and torque figures down here, and it really, really does launch off the line. And that acceleration is fun, yes, but it's also practical and usable in certain traffic situations where you need to quickly overtake someone or quickly get out of the way. So it is a fun, zippy car from a power perspective, and it's kind of light. It only weighs 4,500 pounds, which I know sounds heavy, but for an EV, it's really not that heavy, especially things like the new M5 are 1,000 pounds more than this, and they're not even full EV. When it comes to driving the Model Y, it excels at a lot of the things that people want in a day-to-day car. For example, when it comes to city driving, because it has a very aggressive regen mode, one pedal driving becomes very effective and very simple. So it reduces a lot of the stress of going back and forth between accelerating and braking, especially in heavy traffic. Likewise, when it comes to back road spirited driving, the steering ratio on the Model Y, and all Teslas actually, is very quick. And what I mean by that is not the turning circle, which is actually pretty wide on the Model Y, but the quickness of the steering. That combined with the relatively small diameter steering wheel here makes it a pretty fun and zippy car to drive. And it only weighs 4,500 pounds, which sounds like a lot, but given the weight of other EVs and given the weight of the new M5, it's actually kind of light. And if you're driving this car long distance on the highway, the long wheelbase and heavy battery platform makes it very smooth and comfortable. And now Tesla offers full self-driving for $100 a month as a subscription instead of paying for it full price. So if you want to enable that, come to a stop, or even do it while you're driving actually, one time down, and it just turns on. So then you don't have to do anything. It'll navigate between cars, stop, go, change traffic, everything that is a hallmark of Tesla full self-driving, as long as you're in the driver's seat and engaged, and that's why it's called supervised full self-driving. But the driving experience of the Tesla Model Y as a whole is strong because there's a lot of things that this car does well. Of course, the biggest advantage with a Model Y or any Tesla really is the charging infrastructure. You can see right now I'm charging on a charge point charger that would be available to any other EV, which is nice and convenient if you're in an apartment like this where you need to kind of charge while you're waiting for a bit. But of course with the Tesla, you get full access to the Tesla supercharging network. The Tesla supercharging network has much faster charging speeds than a lot of public chargers. It has more, and the Tesla infotainment and navigation is really well designed to plan trips and routes using the Tesla supercharging network. And of course, a used Model Y still leverages the same charging network that any new Model Y would use. So again, nothing is being lost with going with a used version when it comes to charging infrastructure and charging flexibility and variety. So to summarize, the reason why I feel like the Tesla Model Y is such a good used car proposition in 2025, especially this pre-refresh model, is because it's a car that did a lot of things right. It's a car that still does a lot of things right because a lot of them are the same as the brand new Model Y, except the price point on these used Model Ys is really attractive, at least right now in 2025. This is a car that has a lot of great usable technology, a lot of very usable space. It's very practically designed. It's fun to drive both in terms of power and driving dynamics. And also it has access to the Tesla supercharging network, which makes it a lot more convenient using it as a daily driver. At least these are my thoughts. I'm not a Tesla expert or an EV expert. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Drop them in the comments down there. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you next time. Thank you for watching.